Hello everyone, it is John and today's video is a role-playing game we're looking at, and it is the, let's see if I can get this right, the Middle-earth role-playing game from ICE, Iron Crown Enterprises, and can't remember when this was produced, 1986. 1986. Feeling young again, or younger. Anyway, let's go have a look at what I've got to waffle about this one. Okay, we're looking at the Middle-earth role-playing system from Iron Crown Enterprises, ICE, as we commonly called them. So this was a fairly compact set of rules, which was really good. And again, this was the second printing of, I believe, the first edition, because I only found this out because I thought I had a first edition set of the rules here. Now, I will say that this was in the days when I used contact plastic to do all my books. Here is why you don't do it, because, oh God, it's stuck. I knew it would do that, and that's why. You will, I don't know how well you can see it, but it's gone and gotten sticky. So I've now got to do a bit of resurrection work here before I pack this away. Got to cut away all this plastic that's stuck off the edge and probably put a new lot of some sort of plastic or contact down here to stop that from adhering to the rest of the book. But this was 104 pages, which I must admit is less daunting than their Rolemaster set of rules, or at least in my opinion anyway. So everything in one book. Now, the only reason why I know that this is a second printing was that at the bottom of this box there was an errata, and when I went through and I checked the errata, it says here that I checked the first one, it says here the agility is +15, not +10, and my copy has the +15 on it. So clearly this is the errated second printing. So this obviously, I don't know, would it be classified as a second edition or just the first edition with a corrected print? I don't know, because the next box you will see is actually called a second edition. So I'm just presuming that this is a corrected first edition. So I'm saying that it's a second printing with corrections. So this is essentially it. Look, my memory is so hazy I can't remember, except that I think I mainly bought it because I was a lover of Lord of the Rings, as I think did most of my friends who did buy it. Now, looking at the fact that it's got quite a bit of wear on it, we must have played it quite a bit, and it, you know, it's fairly decent. Certainly they produced quite a lot of modules for the system from memory, and I think they're fairly well sought after. Usually when I do see them pop up here in Brisbane, they're snapped up fairly quickly. So obviously their background material must be fairly decent, I would think. So yeah, anyway. So it's obviously condensed everything down and put all the fumble charts and everything into a more condensed set of locations, so you're not fumbling through cardboard. That was the one thing I think was the problem I found, was that you put charts down and you can't find them, at least when they're in a book. I guess it's easier to locate. So anyway, that is essentially what the first edition, second printing was that. You then got a counter display with guidelines. So there was obviously standard castle keeps by the looks of it, some trolls there. There was a sample dungeon in the book. Couldn't find that there was anything external besides this. They didn't appear to have another adventure. If there was, could somebody let me know? And these were the highly detailed, and look, I can't even read the print. Well, I can now. I've pushed my glasses right up to look at them. But look, it might be fine if you're young and your eyesight's good, but oh, geez, it's difficult for an old man to try and read them. And of course they had the errata down there, obviously. So this clearly marks this as a second printing of the first edition rules. This set is the one that they have called the once I straighten up a bit, I've been videoing all morning. This is the second US edition, so they've clearly marked this as the second edition. So certainly a lot nicer. The artwork is certainly a lot more, is a lot cleaner. So yeah, I don't know that anything much has changed. Couldn't tell you, to be honest. But that is, again, one rule book, which is really all you need. You don't need a massive complex system. The cardboard standees, yep, which I think were missing from the first one. Then, oh, sorry, knocked the camera. And these look awfully familiar from the first edition. So keep is that. And then they've got this, an introduction to fantasy roleplay. So read this if you are an inexperienced role player. So it's obviously talking all about their quest game system, which is good. So that is very helpful. Would certainly be something that I would probably want to look at if I wanted to get back into playing their system, to try and remember how this game runs. So it's, yeah, anyway, so that's all very, very helpful. So yeah, there you go. That is the second edition. Totally different. I quite like the, certainly, who did that? Angus McBride. Angus McBride did the artwork to that. That's quite nice. Then this, I guess, is one of the adventures, one of the adventure books. Let me pull that out. I've also left notes in there. So you've got, this is all the adventure, talking about the whole area. Artworks, nice. So yeah, so anyway, that's those people. They're fairly short. Some of them are short, some of them are fairly lengthy from memory. But that was Fortress. Then I bought. Then they did a series, Lords of the Middle Earth, which was what I was really interested in. So the first one dealt with the immortal, the elves, the Magi, the Maya, and the Valar. So that covered all of them. So like Shelob, virtually all the elves, and Sauron, the wizards and those. So that was quite a useful book. And then we had the Mannish races, so that covered all the like the Men of Gondor, Numenor, and all that. So that was, I thought, a fairly good book for me. Then, obviously, this was a rather important book to have. You obviously needed creatures to populate, so they covered all the creatures like the dragons, and I guess the other little creatures that you might need to elven horses. That's interesting. Oxes and other bits and pieces. So that was the animals. It was a rather disappointing book, to be honest. There wasn't a lot in there. And then they produced a hardcover book, which was for Minas Tirith. And I think there was a map. I think the maps. I don't know if it gave you the city as well. Oh yes, it did. So it gave you the city and its different tiers. So that was there, and then it gave you obviously the surrounding countryside. So that was quite nice. And then there was obviously all the I guess the personalities and such that they created, and the city itself. This book's handle survived very nicely for its time. But yeah. All right. Well, that's my collection, and I must admit it is very small. But then you really don't need a lot, I guess, to play Middle Earth, because there's so much information out there for you to basically play, because Tolkien's writings are enough for most people to run with. His works are I guess just a skeleton from which you can build the muscles and the infrastructure to go with it. Anyway, look, thank you very much for your time. So take care. Until next time, signing off, the Honourable John.